Hello, friends. Welcome back to our financial planning for personal finance for BUSI 1301. Hope you're doing well as always. Hope you're safe. Hope you're healthy. Let's see if we can get our finances healthy, my friends. We stopped right here. So, this is the next video, your cash flow plan. Today, we'll look at cash flow planning as well as building a very strong credit score. Now, we talked about saving. We talked about what to do with money. We talked about, those steps in our financial plan. Real quickly, again, for our college years, you want to be able to have at least one, I would say $3,000 of an emergency fund ready to go at any given time, trying to keep debts down to our lowest, okay, credit card, car, school loans, and then we'll pay back that debt ruthlessly. But through it all, we have to have some sort of a cash flow plan. Just a different word for budget, and nobody wants to use that word. It's the budget. It sounds so restrictive. So let's see what we need to start doing with our money. Now, we have to give money a name in your wallets. All right, every time you get paid, I have all of these forms, my friends, in the personal finance binder. Okay, please print that out. I mean, I do have copies, and once this is all over, you come back to my office any given time, and I'll have a binder for you, ready to go, fully in the bound and all the stuff. But you can print it out, you know, and use the templates as much as you need. Okay, so is rent a name? Yeah, it is. Now we talked about getting paid on the first day of the week, and tomorrow is the last day of the month. So we could be looking for a payday. Man, I tell you, I sure am. And we want to run out to Amazon. We want to run out to all of our favorite stores, restaurants, and places to celebrate movies and spend that money. And if that cash is in our wallet, or on our debit card in our account, and we don't name it, it just gets spent, doesn't it? How many times have you, over the weekend, you've had started off on a Friday afternoon with 50, 100, $200 in 20s, in your pocket, and then Monday morning came around and you're lucky to find 120 left. I mean, $120 bill left, because it just went away. We had a lot of fun with it. So we gotta, every time before we get paid, all right? So what I'm doing right now, let's give that money a name. Mortgage is a good name. Rent is a good name. Got to have that. Food is a name. Absolutely. Your budget for food, your utilities, your sundries. For those of you who are paying your own taxes because you're self-employed, that's a name. Insurance, etc., etc. Detail everything out, and then you'll see how much further this money goes. And if you're afraid right now at all to even do this, I'm not going to shame you, because it can be a little bit, anxious to start budgeting. Just keep all your receipts that you spend in a month and just see how much you're spending and where is it going. That's kind of a way to reverse engineer this, but we want to get on the proactive side. Money that is left unaccountable in your pocket, even in that debit account, will always find a way out of your personal financial plan. It will be the new golf clubs, the new clothes, the new shoes, the new anything else that you it just found a way. So this is a great idea. I will tell you personally that I have saved my most money, and when I was on my tightest budget, when my wife was not working, we were homeschooling our daughter, it was just my income, which makes a lot of sense, an income of an educator, to your spouse quit her job and homeschool. We were young and not so bright, but we made it. And this is how we made it. We put everything in an envelope, okay? Didn't have a car loan, drove an old car, all right? But we put everything in here. Now, I didn't do dance lessons, but I did eat groceries, okay? And when that cash, whatever it was, $400, $500 for groceries a month, your phone bill, when this was empty, there was just no more buying. I had to go to another envelope to use it. So if you could start using cash for purchases in an envelope system, and they're pretty sophisticated, they literally look like wallets now. That cash is emotional, and you will hang on to it. It's just not easy to hang on to that debit card because you're just swiping through and there's no emotion. When you have to pull out $300 from this account right here from this envelope, you really think that, hey, do I need that extra stuff that I had there? Yes, it's gourmet, coffee, organic, fair trade, but I probably could get something that's not $20 a pound. I could get a Starbucks brand for on sale for $10, and that's what I drink, by the way. And nobody ever took me up on buying me anything for this semester. Hey, are you saving for Christmas? You know, right in here should be one that says Christmas, okay, or gifts. And so if you started putting $20 a month from January, well, you'd have 240 bucks, comes an extra 240 in cash when Christmas comes. If you did 50 a month, you have $600. Who would not like $600 in an envelope for Christmas come December 1st? So you can start doing that right now. Great way to save, my friends. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a cash flow plan. Okay, how do I do it? Sounds easy. Well, let's look at this. This is your money, and where should it go? Okay, some of you may want to have, you've got a favorite charity. You want to give some money back, especially when you're doing well. What comes around does go around, and you just want to spread that. So 5 to 10% of charitable gifts. When we say savings, for right now, if you could just peg 5 to 10%, you'd be doing great. For those of you living at home, and when you find a way to free up money, boy, you need to rat hole as much money as you can, and you can do that. Housing, 25 to 35%. Okay, this is take-home pay. So this is no more than these percentages in your take-home pay. Utilities, 10%. Food and sundries, 20%. Now, if you're vegan and organic, like I am, food gets very expensive. And these are all your other sundry items, which we would rather not discuss out loud, but you buy, when you're at the any market you go to. Your transportation, your car. And when we talk about car payments in here, are you including insurance and upkeep and gasoline? You start putting that all together, this number goes up fast. All right, medical, going to a medical account. We know right now, my gosh, healthcare is very expensive, and we need to have some sort of a fallback for medical expenses. Debt servicing, recreation. All of a sudden, that's not a whole lot of areas for 100%. I highlighted and bolded housing and transportation. When we left our last lecture, we saw that the income group that saved the worst had actually had a negative savings amount during some of the most prosperous years this last decade in the United States history, were literally had a negative savings rate. I suspect, if you want to dig deep on that, where did it go? Housing, your take-home pay. If your housing is getting close to 35%, or if it's over 35%, friends, you just don't have enough to eat. Okay, there's just a finite. So many people are in too big a house in that income group, and their transportation. They maybe have 3 automobiles with the insurance, with the gas, with the upkeep. Just the car payment alone is hitting somewhere between 20 and 25% of take-home pay. That's just going to make you broke. That's all, because this stuff's going to happen, and so let's look at it on paper. I'm just giving you, now some of you are doing very well, all right, and so you can adjust your cash flow. You can base it on the job you have right now. Some of us are going to start that brand new professional job in a few years, or hopefully soon. And so I'm giving you for those of you who don't have that employment yet, I'm giving you a $45,000 a year job. Okay, that's a nice midline. Certainly a very honorable first job in the professional field would be great. If you make more, fantastic. You'll just know how to do this a little bit better. We're going to make a cash flow plan. Now, these are the sheets that I have for you in the personal finance binder. And so print them out as much as you need to. So let's take you as an example. All right, you want to give $100 a month away. Maybe it's for a pet fund. Maybe it's for Meals on Wheels, Red Cross, United Way, something that other people can benefit by. Okay, we put $100 right there. I've talked you into that emergency fund. You realize you need some savings. And so now you put $100 in right there. So your savings is $200 a month. Great. Well, you're ready to move out. You want that apartment. I picked $950 as your starting rent for an apartment. Now I know some of you are laughing right now and saying, $950, man, what planet are you on, Randy? I'm paying $1,100 a month. That was my first apartment to get into. I understand. I understand. This number could be higher. I'm just going conservative. When I had 600 on here, I literally got laughed out of the classroom and said, man, you're not even close. Again, so we're putting 950 there. Electricity, 150 a month. Yep, you get to pay electricity. Now, apartments, if that's what you get, are usually notoriously not well insulated. I know my first apartment wasn't. It was a nice one, but our bills back in the 90s were over this amount. Now, you're saying that I can get mine down to 70 because I turn the AC off when I go to work, and or the heater off, and then I turn everything back on. I live very frugally. You can do that, but we're just going to put as an average 150. And if you're in a home, if you're going to rent a home or buy a home, 150 is what you would wish that bill would look like. Even in your apartments, this happened many years ago, decades now, but they used to not charge water. Now you have water and utilities, and I'm going to peg that at $40 a month, which is a pretty low ball figure. Your phone, internet, TV, everything combined, 140. Hey, I saw that. You trying to throw something at me? Yeah, I know. Friends, it shouldn't be more than this. I have had too many families come up and say, man, we're paying 500. Should you be paying $500 for this crap? I mean, cable TV, if you have it, there's just no reason to have that. You know, you can, again, do what I do. You can stream a digital antenna for free and then get your Netflix and your Hulu on that as long as you have your internet, and you can get to this number pretty quickly. Okay, and that's just probably your cell phone right there. Work the deals here. Don't let this eat your budget up. So we're being very conservative. Guess what? You've moved out of the house. You have a place to go to. You have electricity. You have water running, and you have your phone and your internet going for $12.80. And you haven't put anything in your mouth yet. Okay, you're not eating. You're not. This is. You don't have a bed. So gets expensive, doesn't it? Get you. Oh, you get back there. All right, I got a very tricky mouse here. Boy, just hope you love that one. All right, food and groceries, $400 a month. Now, that's based on every month has 4.2 weeks in it. Okay, so that's $100 a week. If you can get by with food on $100 a week, my best guess is you're eating, that's 7 days, a lot of ramen, the cheap stuff, not the organic stuff you find at Natural Grocer, the cheap stuff, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So there you go. My food bill is very expensive, but that's just the way we eat. You know, it is. So see if you can, that's just a number. Maybe you're going to go out to restaurants. You'll go out $20 a week. These numbers are probably pretty low, maybe unrealistic. Let's say you have an older car, a good car. Some of you are driving really nice cars when I look in the parking lot. Maybe your car payment's around $200. Before you rush out, because you have that $45,000 a year job, and go buy a brand new Honda Accord or Toyota Camry or Subaru, whatever a nice, dependable brand car is for $32,000 or $35,000. See how long you can get that old car. Go get it tuned up. Okay, keep your no payment. Let's say $200. We know that's a very low number because the average car payment in America is $476. You're going to need gas and oil. Just your oil changes and your gas, $125 a month, and then you're not driving very far. Repairs, fees, license, insurance. Boy, that would be a great insurance bill. I'm going as low, as conservative as I can on these numbers. We could really bump these up. Your total right now is $2,403. Okay. On all, you've just moved out of the house into your own apartment. You're kind of eating. You got the car still running, and you're paying for a semi-decent, hopefully decent, but nothing fancy apartment. That's page one. Is there a page two? Oops. Yep. Okay. Let's say on a monthly basis you buy $75 worth of new clothes. All right. Because you got to have some professional wardrobes going on. That number probably gets higher, but we're just going to average it out per month. So that would give you about $1,000 a year in clothing. And of course, you may have to have some dry cleaning done, So we'll put that at 20 bucks a month. Hopefully, as we go through our financial plan, you're going to buy life insurance because you need that. All right, say that's $20 a month. Your grooming, your hair care, all right, $85. A little bit of blow, all right. It's not what you're thinking. No, it's not what you're thinking. It's not cocaine, all right. It is simply just some fun. I like to call it TAM, traveling around money. That's just you're going out and having some fun, and you're having fun on a very limited basis. You're literally going to free parks and buying, Coke and some popcorn or something, maybe a couple of movies. 280 on page 2. Is there a page 3? Well, we'll say, right now we don't have a lot of funds for recreation. You do have some credit out there, and you're making your minimum payments, okay, which is always a smart idea. So there we are. What do we look like? Let's total up the pages. 90, 280, 2403. That's a grand total of $2,773 a month. Now, if you take a $45,000 a year income, divide it by 12, and then take out 25 to 30% is what you'll have to take out, because there's your taxes, there's your Social Security, and you may have been taken out from retirement automatically from your organization, and you may be taking out some health care. If you're in good shape, you can get $2,700 of cash flow a month. It looks a lot more. It's beautiful when you see that $3,900 you're coming in a month, but it comes down to this. So we're already kind of in the whole negative $73. Now, we didn't do this to make you depressed. We just said, okay, wow, I know what to do. Let me just do another plug real quick here. That part-time business would be a great idea, wouldn't it? How would that extra $600 a month? When I said these would be game changers, that extra $600 a month, oh my gosh, you're saving $500, which is now an extra $100 with the emergency fund. You're saving $600 a month now, and you're living pretty well. Great. Well, what else could you do? Could you get a roommate? Could you, again, find different ways, creative ways to lower your expenses? This is why we do it, my friends. It's painful, yes. Sometimes we don't want to look at the numbers, but do it. You will not be accurate your first month, second month. It may take 3, 4, 5 months to get accurate, but it'll be so much better for you. Absolutely. And just real quickly, for those of you who are living at home, and it's a good situation for you. I know some of us cannot live at home because the situation is too toxic, and it's not good. But if you can, that's why I say stay there as long as you possibly can, my friends. This is what you're going to be up against, basically $3,000 a month for outlays of just moving your living to another place, just to an apartment, from your room in your home to an apartment. Make sure you have 10 grand before you move out. Now you've got a great emergency fund, and then 10 grand, my gosh, man, that's only what? That's about 5-6 months of savings. What if you lived at home for a couple of years and paid all your debts out, and then moved out with a $15,000-$20,000 emergency fund? Just my advice for you. Just my advice. Yes, you will giving yourself a raise because of at least 30% when you start doing this, because you know where that money's going. The fund money, which was a small amount, we were giving ourselves $80 a month. We put a number on it, versus letting it be $500 a month of money that we had no idea where it went. Just that discretionary income, that discretionary cash that we just blew real quickly. Yes, it takes a while, 3 to 4 months. Never give up on it, because this is the alternative, all right? And this is where too many Americans are right now. Let's give that cash flow planning a try. Even if you're only making a few $100s a month, well, then hopefully you are living at home, and at least you can say, okay, this amount I'm going to have going out, and I'm going to put this in savings, and I'm going to get my emergency fund built up. Hope that's helpful. Credit scores. Possibly the most important financial number that you're ever going to have. Credit scores are very important. You're going to have to get out, when you get that first apartment, when you get that job, when you get that house. For those who are going to go out and finance that car, everything revolves around your credit score. So, what is a credit score then? It is a mathematical computation, is what it is. It predicts the likelihood that you will pay back a loan or a credit card balance. What I tend to say it is the price of money. That's what interest is. This dictates what interest rate you will get. Now, in a course, most grades are 0 to 100. So your credit score is 300 to 850. This is a 0. This is the worst credit score you could get. And this is the best credit score. This is the nirvana. All right. So it is extraordinarily important. I've seen people with the same amount of income, and one group can just barely be making it, and the other group starting to really do well, because the one group with a poor credit score is paying such high interest rates that their debts are just growing versus shrinking, even though they're making payments. Boom. Let's look at it. The Fair Isaacs Company. Now, also, there's Vantage 3.0, which now does a tremendous amount of credit. So you could see either one of these as you look at your credit score. These are your factors to determine that score. Your percentage of on-time payments is always number one in both credit models. That is, are you making your payments on time? We have to do that. The second is your open credit card utilization. For every credit card you have, you get a credit limit. The more credit you are using, the lower your score is going to be. The less credit you are using, or the wider, the bigger credit limits you have, the higher your score gets. Remember that. Derogatory marks, collections, bankruptcies. Bankruptcies are just terrible. No other way to say it. They hit your credit for 7 years and beyond, but a minimum of 7 years. So we do not want to get into this area. If we are, we've got to think up. I'm going to show you ways to build this score back up. Your average age of open credit accounts. Okay, I want you to get a credit card right now. If those of you have a credit card, great. If you do not have a credit card and you're listening to my beautiful voice right now, go to your bank. And if you don't have a bank, then you need to open up a bank account as best you can. And you can ask your bank for a credit card. If they say, I'm sorry, Randy, you really don't have enough history right now, and you may not have the employment because you're 18, 19 and a college student, you say, okay, I will open up a secured credit card then. And what that means is they will take some money from your bank account and they will, what we would call, partition it. All right, they'll set it aside, and let's say you want a $500 credit limit, okay, which means they will probably set aside $600 from your account. And then again, that is your credit limit. And so you can charge no more than $600. What you're not trying to do, you're just using a strategy. At least it starts your credit process. So if you cannot get it unsecured, and as time goes on, and you have good credit, the unsecured means that there's nothing that secures that credit card except your willingness to pay it back. So there we go. So all of us should have a credit card. Let's do it by next week. Well, all right, we're in the pandemic right now, so we really can't get outside. When this crap is over, let's get that credit going for those of you who do not have a credit card. All right, and please don't tell me you don't need a credit card. If you are really truthful saying that, then you have net assets of $1 million, and you took this course just because it was fun to take. And if that's the case, we need to talk, and I need to borrow a little bit of money from you. So we all need some sort of credit, my friends, and we need to get our credit going for a long time because this happens a lot. We need the average age of our open credit. If we have years of good credit, it helps our credit score. The number of accounts and hard credit inquiries. Well, let's flesh this out. All right, what does it mean? Again, anything from 300 to 600 is a poor credit score, which means, unfortunately, you're going to be paying high interest rates. I'd be paying high interest rates. A decent one is the mid 600 to low 700s. This means, okay, you're getting better, and your credit availability, you're going to get more applications coming through the mail, and good things are happening. Good is 720 to 749. You're getting the lower interest rates. Excellent is 750 and above. These are the people who will get that 0% financing on cars for the first, almost now I think you can get a complete 4-year to 5-year loan at 0% interest because the credit is that good. Let me tell you how important that is. It makes a lot of difference. The average American credit score right now is 678. That ain't great by any stretch of the imagination. So we want to be right up in these two areas. Let's see how we can do that. Again, this is the FICO, and your Vantage 3.0 is pretty much on the same numbering system. So 800 or higher, top 20% of U.S. consumers. There we go. This is some of the lowest ones, and unfortunately, many of this population has incomes insecurities, and it's just very difficult. It's very difficult, kind of living on the edge here. Let's see what we can do, my friends. Okay. Again, maybe saying, man, I'm 18 years old, I'm 19, why should I care right now? Well, you're in the prime position to really change your financial structure and your financial tree more than anyone in the course, those of you in that under 23-year-old range. So, yeah, it's the price you pay. Would you like that 4.25% mortgage over 30 years? Well, my credit score wasn't so great, and I had a 7.25%, which really, friends, is not a terrible rate. But over 30 years, this rate paid an additional $100,000 worth of interest over the loan than this mortgage, than this price. What could you do with $100,000 extra over 30 years? Man, that could be funding your retirement, so you'd have $1 million or $2 in. See how that's important? 1.99% on a car loan versus 14%, 325 versus 625. I had a student many years ago, and I felt so bad for her because you could see the anxiety and the stress when she came into classes. And she missed a test one night as I was just about packing everything up. She came in crying, "Oh my God, I missed the test." I said, "Look, you're going to be fine. You can take it. Are you okay?" "Well, I just got in another fender bender wreck, and it's been terrible for me. And my car payment." I mean, she just kind of let it all out. And she has some very poor credit, did some things that nobody helped her on, and she was paying over $625 a month for like a Pontiac Sunbird, an old one. They don't make those cars anymore. And because she was paying a 14% interest rate. I said, $625 a month? You should be driving a brand new Range Rover. I mean, that's what you'd be driving. So, what can we do, my friends? Is this important? Yes, and you should care. Career. A majority of companies, as we just talked about in our last unit lesson, will use credit scoring for job applicant approval, certainly for security clearances. Because if you have a very poor credit score, if I have one, I cannot get a security clearance because I am a threat right there that somebody could pay me off very quickly, so I could get pay off all my debts. And so I would not get a security clearance. And if I'm handling money, if I'm going for an accounting job or managing finances, they say, "Randy, my gosh, man, we can't trust you with money. Why would we? If you can't be trusted for your own finances, why should I going to trust you here?" So, yes, it's very important, very important. How do I maintain a good score? All right, enough about talking about it. Let's have the strategy. Use credit wisely. This is why I want you to get that credit card for brand new credit users. Charge $20, $30, whatever you're comfortable with, at least 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks a month on your credit card. Now, you have bill pay, so automatically you're going to set that up on bill pay and you're going to pay it back every month. You will never miss a payment, okay? Has anyone ever missed a payment? Absolutely. Man, I missed one last month. I didn't even realize it. It was, I thought I had paid it off, and so I got the late fee. I got all that stuff on there. I immediately paid it and called the company. I said, "Look, I cannot believe I did that." And they said, "Look, you got good credit. We're going to erase the late fee on you, and you're good to go." That's why you always call if you're going to be late. What can you negotiate? Tell them that that you're going to make the payment in the morning, because we just forget. Okay, it happens. There was an old way of doing things called universal default. And universal default is basically an illegal practice that credit card companies still use, and that is, you're good with 4 of your credit cards, everything's up to date. For some reason, you did not pay the 5th credit card. Let's say it's a Dillard's bill, and you literally forgot, or money got tight, and you missed it for a couple of months, and it went on your credit score. All of a sudden, all the other cards jacked up their interest rates at the highest rate, because they said, "Well, you defaulted on that Dillard's, now you defaulted on all of ours," when in truth, you did not do that. Yes, it is illegal, and yes, it still goes on. So, do we ever miss a payment? No. Try never to go over that limit of 30% of your credit limit right there. Okay, that's credit utilization. So if I have a $1,000 limit, let's not try to keep a $300 balance or more. Now, maybe you buy a big purchase for $500, okay, or $600, but then you pay it off immediately. All right, that keeps that limit down. And here is a great strategy right here. Always call the credit card company to raise your limit. So for those of us who have a credit card right now, there's nothing stopping us right now, and I do it at least every 6 months. Call your credit card company up and say, hey, you know what? Can I get an increase in limit? Because all of a sudden now I'm opening my credit utilization, which means I've got a lot more credit limit I can have. Just tell them you're going to buy something, but I'm going to buy a computer for school, and it's going to be about $2,000. Is there any way I can get a limit up to there? And as long as you've had the card for at least a year and you've made good payments, they can give you on the spot extra credit. And again, that is going to build your credit score. So we never miss a payment, we don't go over our limit, and we can always call to up that limit. Every 6 months is a good rule of thumb once you have had credit in the system for at least a good year. Here's some habits. 7 habits of people with excellent credit scores of 750 and above, and that's where we want to be because we'll always get the best deals everywhere. Pay on time. Boom, just did it. This is the #1 factor for credit scoring models, and a late payment can bring down that score, especially if it ever gets reported, it really brings it down. Here's something interesting. 96% of people, so basically everybody with a 750 credit score or above, are never late. Is the opposite true? Yes. 70% of people with 650 or lower credit score have accounts that are past due. So the rule here, never miss a payment. Minimize the use of available credit. All right, this is the second factor that we just talked about, is the credit utilization. So 96% of people with a 750 score or above only have 10% of their available credit used at one time. The reason being, they have a lot of credit, that their limit is very big. Okay, 75%, which is just about all, with 650 and below are maxed out of their cards right now. They're at 95%, which means they are getting nailed for all sorts of fees, and the interest rates are just terrible for them. Maintain those low balances. That's that third factor. All right. Again, excellent credit scores have low balances. They pay off with, you can pay that off with no interest. So if you charge my strategy of $50 a month or less, and you pay it back every month in full, then you don't have any interest at all, which is great. The average credit card debt is less than $3,500, but they have $40,000 worth of credit limit. Just think if you had a $40,000 credit limit and you did have your own business, wow, now you've got room to make some purchases. You've got a lot of different avenues than if your credit is just tied up. 650 and below credit scores, those people, the 75%, pay lots of interest charges. Their credit card debt is greater than $4,500 with a total limit around $6,000. So there's just no room between that $4,500 and $6,000 to move. A lengthy credit history. This is why those of you who are young and are just getting out of high school, getting into college, get that credit. 11-year history of credit gets you that excellent credit score. Okay. Generally speaking, those with very small credit histories just do not have a great credit score, and they're paying higher interest. Here's something interesting right in here. Only apply when necessary. Now, sometimes when it is the Christmas shopping season, you're in line, and all of a sudden, the poor clerk, who is basically mandated by their managers to issue a store credit card, and they really pump this on you. I can get you 25% off today of this purchase if I give you a credit score. We don't want to open up a bunch of accounts at once, and so you can go from store to store, and all of a sudden, at the end of the night, I got 5 new store charges. And store credit cards sometimes aren't really good because they're very small limits, and it will lower your score. When I was buying a car for my daughter a few years ago, we were at a Honda dealership in North Richland Hills, Huggins Honda, good place, and salesman who was just a great character, and he was doing 5 things at once, of course. And he said, "Hey, you mind if I take this call?" I go, "Oh, go ahead. We're just we're fine." And he was a gentleman he was working with who was making his way from East Texas, from Lufkin up to Nacogdoches, going to Tyler, and he was hitting car dealerships on the way. And the gentleman Bob said, "Hey, let me run your credit score." And he goes, "What the hell have you been doing?" He goes, "Your credit score has lowered by 150 points." He goes, "Have you been trying to get applications?" He goes, "Yep, I tried in Lufkin, Nacogdoches, and now I'm in Tyler." And he says, "Well, guess what you got to do if you come here? You're going to have to put down another $1,000 on your down payment because your credit score got hit so bad." And I was thinking, wow, that is true. It really does happen. And I was just witnessing it as it did happen. So don't open up a lot of accounts at once. Get the first time is going to be the hardest, but then, every few months is one thing. But if you open several in a week or a day, your credit score is going to get shot. Choose those cards carefully. Again, some of these easy applications, but they could be very high interest rates, especially a department store with very small credit limits, and you're paying close to 29% interest. That's just not a good deal. I would definitely tell you, monitor your credit report at annualcreditreport.com. That gives you your free one. I would also say I think it is worth the $20 to get on Experian and lock up your Social Security number and monitor your credit. Unfortunately, my daughter got her identity stolen. Basically, somebody opened up a credit card in her name, and we had no idea where it came from. They were just hunting down the internet, and she did not have a big profile. But I finally, last year, I got a past due notice for 350, whatever the credit limit was at a store in Georgia. And I was having it out with the bank. And she goes, "No, no, you guys did this." And I go, "No, we didn't." I go, "Look where it says the address is. I've never lived in Topeka, Georgia." And she go, "Oh, well, let me get to our fraud department." And so it was a mess of going to police departments, finding the report. But I certainly got on Experian, opened up an account in her name, and we got her credit completely restored. And it could have been worse because but the person nailed her credit score so bad she could never get any more credit. So that's why it didn't get any worse than it did. So please monitor your credit report, okay, and make sure if there's anything on there. And everything was taken off her report. Once we got the police report, we sent it right back into Experian, and they cleared everything out. It's $20 a month, and right now it's very much worth it because especially if you don't have any credit, somebody may be putting it in their name just because they can get the heads up, the first jump. So monitor that credit report, my friends. That can get us some fantastic credit scores, which I want you to have. I want you to get the lowest interest rate when you go out for that home, when you get that job, or when you maybe have to buy that car, or just, it's nice to enjoy credit. It is, as long as you can pay it all back very easily. This is a great ratio to have. It is called the debt ratio, okay? So this is what you owe. These are your debts, and you divide it by your gross monthly income. If that is 40% or less, you're in great shape, okay? And you really want it. That's including your mortgage, okay, or your rent, your car payments, your student loans, everything else here. Get that 40% or less, and you have breathing room. You can buy other stuff. You can save money. You can plan. You can invest. When these numbers gets over 40 to 50%, there's just not enough money to go around for everything else unless we get more in debt. So we now have a way to budget, okay? We now have a way to build our credit score. So we're saving some money and we're building our credit score and we're establishing those emergency funds. I tell you what, my friends, you're doing great. Things look good right now when we start down this path. We will look in our next video, the culture of debt. Now, I do believe you need those credit cards because what we were trying to do was build a strategy to get that credit score. But unfortunately, there is a sea of debt for most people, and we're going to look at how to overcome that. And that's the quote to leave you with. Now, that's from King Solomon. It's called "The borrower is servant to the lender." Now, we're not trying to be religious. That's just a fact. Shakespeare said it as well. Never be a servant to the lender. Now, this guy was the most powerful person of his time, King Solomon, and he had the most money. And this is basically the smartest, most wealthiest person in the world. If you want to look what his wealth would be compared to Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, it literally would be in the trillions of dollars because he controlled the most gold and silver in the world that was given to him. So he's just saying this to you. If the smartest, wisest, wealthiest guy said, don't do it, be very careful what you do, maybe it's advice worth listening to. Friends, have a great day, and I'll see you at the next lecture.